Well, now that we're live, why don't we recap our drinks for the entire viewing audience of all of our patrons.
Is that relevant?
Our patrons, our future listeners on the regular feed. We are, of course, here at I think this is the 9th Democratic debate recap we've done, which is not the same as the number of debates. Well, it's the same as the number of debates, but for a while, there was 2 debates every week, which was just insane. And I guess I'm thankful that there's at least only one of these, and I don't have to do another one tomorrow. But anyhow, we are joined by the great Monica Perez tonight. Monica, welcome.
Super fun. Thank you.
And of course, as always, or as often, I should say, Monica, I'm not sure if you're aware, Howie Snowden is the one who first set me down the path of the ideas of liberty by telling me about Ron Paul. I would say that's now over 20 years ago. Wouldn't you say, Howie?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure I've done enough for liberty just getting you to start this podcast. So.
I think so. That was your one thing, and you're good.
I'm done.
Great job.
And then I got it from here.
That's an early mover, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Now, Howie was a big-time early mover.
My father used to contribute to Ron Paul's congressional campaigns in the 70s New York. From New York. Like, it was so weird. So I always knew who Ron Paul was. And when I moved to Texas for a while, and my sister said, oh, my gosh, Ron Paul's from Houston. Maybe I'll get to vote for him.
That's how, when I was a junior in high school, I was a congressional page, and I met Ron Paul and just would hear him speak on the floor all the time. And I was in 97.
Wow.
So this is a trio of between all of us, we have over half a century of experience as libertarians.
Almost as many years as Ron Paul has lived.
Yeah. So I feel we're very qualified to break this stuff down. We might be the most qualified. We're also the most qualified to drink, I think. So as I mentioned, I am drinking a giant bottle of Woodbridge Cabernet Sauvignon from way back in 2017. It cost me $5. I'm very proud of this purchase. Monica, what are you drinking? You have a delicious looking beverage there.
Yes, I am drinking one of the best drinks I have ever had, and it has so much meaning from, first of all, it's called a lion's tail. So toast to
perfect.
You. I dedicated it to you the minute I discovered it. And it's also it was a drink created in London during Prohibition by an American in exile. But even though he was in London, he hated the English for getting us into World War I. So it was something about don't grab the lion by the tail or whatever, but it was an Anglophobia anti-war drink during Prohibition. And I just feel like it's the perfect libertarian cocktail.
That's perfect in
awesome.
Every way.
Unfortunately, it's so boozy and delicious that it's dangerous.
Well, that's what's going to make this fun.
Mark, can you get this recipe in the show notes, please?
Dude, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Is there a link where you can just email it to me so I don't have to listen back?
MonicaMixes.com because drinking is so fun for me. My husband said to me, you need to find a way to make your passion your life. I was like, but cocktails are my passion. So anyway.
You have a YouTube channel too, is that right?
It is so hard to get a good YouTube video up that I haven't started to put the videos up yet, but I do.
Because I've heard you mention it, but
great recipes. I'm not plugging it. I'm never, it's just a way for me to record my recipes so I can make the drinks.
It's just your personal channel for you.
Yes.
You post them on Twitter too, though. Too.
It's like a cookbook. Yeah. Spread the love.
All right. Well, speaking of spreading the love, I think it's time to spread the love to our loyal patrons who pay us money to watch Thrill. They don't pay Monica or Howie money. They don't even really pay me money. They pay the entity known as Lions of Liberty money, and I don't get any of that. So really, we're still really volunteering our time if we really look at it.
Hey, I get a trip to Pork Fest once a year.
Get a trip to Pork Fest. Except this year. You're not getting that this year.
Well, yeah, LNC, that'll be better.
You're getting the LNC this year. We can't do 2 trips. Unless everyone listening doubles their pledge, and then we can. Yay. That's just one idea. Because think about the kind of the torture we are putting ourselves through for, especially tonight. I mean, I know, Monica, this is the first one you've watched, right?
I don't watch them because it's just so stupid.
I don't blame you.
I can't stand it. I don't even know what they're doing up there. They're all the same.
Well, tonight even more so are they all the same, because at least in past debates, they all generally come from the same prism where they all view everything through the state. They are all statist, and there's no goal that can be achieved without the state. That is the consensus of all of these people in all the debates. But at least in previous debates, we did have people like Tulsi Gabbard, like Andrew Yang, who, while I also don't agree with them on most issues, they at least kept it interesting. They at least weren't necessarily the cookie cutter, just like everybody else. And now it's just, DNC so white.
Yeah, it's almost that was the joke, that there's no difference at all. I wonder what the punchline's going to be, but the joke was definitely that.
Yeah, I'm waiting on the punchline.
Yeah.
it's weird trying to judge a debate like this because it's like, all right, all these healthcare plans suck. I guess the 75% socialist one's better than the 100% socialist
it's
one.
like, I guess Buttigieg or Biden are maybe the best because they're both like, we don't want to take over everything.
I struggled with that because it's so hard for me to say his name, and it looks so much like Buttigieg that I have to call him Mayor Pete.
No, it's easy. Booty Judge, like he judges.
Booty Judge. Okay, so
just picture him in a contest,
and
he's judging booties. He's holding up cards with numbers, to
got it.
Yeah. Booty Judge.
Easy. I got it. Booty Judge.
We got you. The Lions got you covered.
Perfect. So he was saying, like, I was like, oh, what's libertarian about this debate? And he said, like, we don't need deficits. We need to make this stuff balance and make it work. And I was like, that's libertarian. I was like, oh, wait. That's as status as it gets. Like, let's make the state work forever. Yeah. And I was like,
it might be. You could argue it's worse to argue for doing it right.
Yes.
Yes. Part of me is like, let's go for the worst option. Just accelerate the collapse.
Right. Just demonstrate the problem.
I chose as my most libertarian moment the fade to black to commercial at the end after the debate was over.
Nice. I had to grasp for a libertarian moment, and it was when Bernie said he was not going to vote for the USMCA.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I was afraid mine would be the same as everyone's, but I'm going to take the very first question when Bernie was talking about how like the war in Iraq was the biggest mistake we've ever made, and how he brought up the bill to try to end the war in Yemen, and like it passed the House and the Senate, but the president vetoed it. Like that was some good anti-war shit, but unless they directly ask him about it, he never brings it up on his own.
I changed my answer. The most libertarian moment is the Ron Reagan commercial that aired like 10 times.
I even had issues with the polar bear commercials. I was tweeting invective towards the commercials. Like, that's how bad it was. But, Bernie is totally pro-war, pro-narrative. He might have had that shining moment. They can barely even choke out the anti-war message, especially with Wolf Blitzer standing there. Like, what more aggressive name could you even have? Wolf Blitzer.
I'll give him.
Why are you against war?
He though, out of the people on that stage, there's a lot of like funding bills for the military he's voted against, whereas Warren votes for them every time.
Yeah, I will at least give him credit for actually voting against Iraq from the very beginning, as opposed to, Biden's like, well, I was really against it. I, of course, did vote to authorize it, but I knew the whole time you shouldn't do it. Then he did it anyway. And it's just like, I can't stand it.
Dude, he was one of the main people that got that war started.
I know. He acts like he's just like fumbles his way into it, accidentally voted for it. And that's just a complete bullshit rewrite of history.
And it's so funny that now that like Trump has gotten into some conflict that Obama didn't inherit from Obama. Now we have like an anti-war left again. And so many people tonight like invoked Barbara Lee for like being against Afghanistan. That it's like, well, damn, maybe she should be running, not you fools.
Was she the only vote against Afghanistan? Because even Ron Paul voted for the AUMF for that.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be just for that.
Because I think in his mind, it was like a letter of marque and reprisal.
Right. Well, so was he wrong about that one?
Right.
They're still using it to justify Iran now.
They were like that authorization to use force was against Al-Qaeda, and we were actually on the side of Al-Qaeda for the Obama stuff.
Well, I think the problem
is Al-Qaeda.
I think one of the big problems is it wasn't authorized against Al-Qaeda per se. It was authorized against anyone responsible for 9/11, which now even Mike Pence is trying to blame on the Soleimani guy and use it as a justification for that.
Yeah,
it wasn't specific.
It wasn't even the same like sect. They were all about how it's the Sunnis and the Shias. Like it was our allies who did 9/11. Like you've got to get your mind around that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Soleimani was on our side as recent as last month.
Yeah, because of the de-ISIS. That's what they're calling it, de-ISIS.
Because
it's an antifreeze.
Just in case any of our listeners
Did you put the de-ISIS in there before we head out?
In case any of our listeners don't know, we got rid of Saddam Hussein and pretty much fought the Iraq War to put the Shiites in power there, who are, Shiite like Iran. And then to try to counter that, we funded and trained these radical jihadists in Syria who were Al-Qaeda and became ISIS. And they blew back into Western Iraq, took it over, and we had to fight another war in Iraq with Soleimani and all the other Shiites. Like, we fought 2 wars pretty much for them. We've been working with them this whole time up until like last month, and it's just crazy.
It's so weird, though, that we are really like that was the most coherent narrative I've ever heard of that period, because the fact that we are against ISIS, but also behind ISIS, like just makes me crazy. There was a prank call to Lindsey Graham by these Russian radio guys. I'm sure you've heard of them. Or whatever. If you haven't, Google immediately Russian radio pranksters.
Yeah, they just called Maxine Waters last week, too.
Yes, exactly. So they called him and they acted like they were Turkey. And they said to him, we created ISIS and that's all like going fine. And Lindsey Graham was like, yeah, but still you're buying stuff from Russia. And I'm like, he just said, yes, we created ISIS. Like,
yeah, I mean,
that's NATO.
Wow. We're beholden to Saudi Arabia and Israel, and it's starting to show. Oh. Like when Pence said that about Iran being behind 9/11, people aren't buying it anymore. I don't think. I think people are starting to realize the difference between Sunnis and Shiites. Yeah. It's starting to not fly.
But look, this Iran thing these last couple of weeks has blown my mind, because Iran buying into. They came out and they said, we absolutely did not do this, blah, blah, blah. You're propagandist, you're psyops, you're a big lie. And then they saw this video of very questionable origin, and they were just like, you caught us. We're blowing the whole shit house is going up in flames. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like Iran is in on it. Like I'm wondering if this whole narrative that I have, because it's so stupid what's happening.
Dude, I kind of really think that the Ayatollah wanted Soleimani out because he is a threat to power. There were a lot of people in that country that idolized him. I mean, I don't have any proof or evidence, but my gut's telling me like,
and the fact that Trump
out their loyalists.
The fact that Trump didn't respond to the first of all, the missiles they fired were obviously not meant to hurt anybody, because there were
one of them had no payload. Some of the others had like less of. Yeah.
And then Trump comes out and is like, "Yeah, that was no big deal. We're all good." And it was just like, okay, so what just happened here?
But all right, so hey, that's great news if we're not going to war with Iran.
Absolutely.
But it's also pretty terrible that we're now like Iran's hitmen. Like that sucks too.
But the fact that the chessboard has a whole nother board a whole nother dimension that even who's widely criticized for just seeing too many freaking layers.
There's always another dimension. That's what I'm learning.
Hell?
Yeah, I mean, we were against them in '79. They took the embassy hostage, and then Reagan selling them missiles right after. I don't know what's going on.
This is why, as I've grown older and watched politics more and more, I think 20 years ago I used to be a conspiracy theorist of the sense that I thought I really bought into the cigarette smoking man, the one group of people in the one boardroom figuring it all out. Now I'm still a conspiracy theorist. I just think there's just a bunch of different conspiracies and a bunch of people against each other, and it's always changing because people are vying for power, and it's a lot more complicated than just one.
Have you looked at the smoking man recently?
The actor, or
yeah, he totally looks like a little bit older Buttigieg. Take a look again.
Really?
Take a look again.
I'm going to Google it.
Well, I'm sure that Buttigieg is an actor, but I have to say with the Iran thing, the first Ayatollah was educated in Paris. It was quite fishy, and I always wondered about that. Fishy, fishy, fishy. And you're saying now you think it's a bunch of coalitions, and I'm actually coming full circle. I was there, and now I'm like, oh, we set this whole thing up from the beginning. It's completely orchestrated.
I'm going to send a link into the chat that has a picture that I think represents what Howie is talking.
How do I see that without
Here, I'm going to paste it
on you?
Look, there's a chat on the side, and you should see, or you can.
Got it. Yeah,
Let me see if this picture does
that
represent.
one. I saw a few, and that one felt the closest to what you were trying to describe.
I saw a meme on Twitter, but I don't have my shit up now.
Anyway, we'll post these somewhere.
Yeah.
Yup, he says. I don't know if it's just because you seeded my brain with the idea that that's what he looked like, but now I can't unsee it.
I can't see it. Oh, I have to click on it? I'm worried about clicking. I feel like I'm going to lose you if I start clicking on it.
Just can there be a conspiracy theory where Pete Buttigieg goes back in time and then becomes the actor that plays Cigarette Smoking Man and then grows old to now?
I think he's going to come back as the smoking man in a future series of the X-Files. I think that politicians and actors are going to start crossing over.
This is definitely Buttigieg will appear in the X-Files.
Yeah, I think that he's just going to be like, I'm really an actor.
This is definitely a simulation, by the way.
Everything.
just to veer into a totally different topic. Although it's all, if we're really in the simulation, it's all the same topic.
I still want to know what Howie's drinking.
Oh, yeah. We never got to that. Thank you for keeping me on point.
So right now I'm drinking this Welsh whiskey called Penderyn, which is excellent, very smooth. But I didn't start drinking it till right now. Before that, I was drinking these Icelandic porters. Which
I like the two of them are still in the 6-pack.
Well, yeah, I drank the other 4. It's called, I think, like Einstock Olgerd. And
I just feel like he's got like a can opener and he's just going to start funneling it. Like,
Howie, do you want to tell the heartwarming story of how you got that bottle?
Okay, sure. So I was looking for a Welsh whiskey, and this was online, seemed to be the best one. I went to the liquor store. They obviously didn't have it. They said they would order it, and they called me. They never called me. This was years ago. I'm like, well, I guess I'm never getting that.
Years ago.
And then, yeah, it was years ago. And recently on Twitter, Agora Brewing posted something. They were drinking it and saying how good it was. I'm like, oh, damn. I mentioned to my wife, Andrea. I'm like, oh, yeah, I tried to get that from the liquor store. They never called me back. And she just like went online. She's like, yeah, it's on the way to the house. I just ordered it.
The question is, like, why couldn't you have figured out how to order online?
I didn't even think you were allowed to send alcohol in the mail in Virginia.
Wow.
But apparently,
you've never been driven to desperation.
That should have set off the boogaloo.
It had to come like FedEx. The U.S. Postal Service won't deliver it.
Huh, of course.
So I have a question. Do you know what grain it's made of? Is it like barley and wheat or whatever? Like, is everything made of the same thing? Potato.
Mild aromas of peat smoke early morning at the
peat smoke.
Seaside.
Is that Buttigieg again?
Peat smoke.
It says, oh my God, Pete Smoke, the cigarette smoking man. Buttigieg. It's all coming together, Howie. This is a simulation. You're right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It just seems like a very smooth, normal whiskey.
Anytime we need a password for something from now on, it's going to be Pete Smoke. So
Pete Smoke.
Is that our safe word?
Yeah. Yeah. When we want this madness to end, you just yell Pete Smoke.
Literally writing that down because when I wake up tomorrow and think like, what was the safe
Yes, Monica, you're in charge of the show notes. Thank you. You got the lion's tail recipe and then the Pete Smoke.
I'm doing it.
Let's create our own brand of whiskey called Pete Smoke.
Yeah,
it's got the cigarette smoking man.
I'll
drink it.
Infused.
Of course you will.
The THC whiskey called Pete Smoke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The THC Scotch.
Can we somehow get Pete Buttigieg to finance this?
If we could remember this tomorrow, like if we think about it again,
that's why you wrote it down. That's why keep writing. Come on.
One thing I want to mention about Buttigieg before I forget, like a lot of times, a lot of his answers seem the most reasonable on stage.
Yeah.
But then I remember that the military-industrial complex and the intelligence agencies are really backing him. And I'm like, yeah. No, I don't believe a goddamn thing he says.
Oh, he's a created person. I meant to pull all the stuff I found out. He's like Stacey Abrams level created.
Yeah, yeah.
Really? Oh, can you give us a couple tidbits?
It's funny you mentioned that. The Lions of Liberty have this bonus show, Degenerate Gamblers, that I'm not allowed on. But I made a bet with Brian McWilliams a while ago. I was saying, I think the third candidate was going to be Elizabeth Warren with Stacey Abrams as the VP. And that's the only way, if that happens, I can never go on the show. But yeah,
I think it might be
Stacey Abrams.
Master with, I think it's going to be like Bloomberg with Stacey Abrams.
Somebody's going to pick her.
You think Bloomberg can still swoop in and win this?
I don't know.
I think we're going for a broker convention. I think the candidate's not in the race yet.
I will say, I saw a Bloomberg ad on the NFL Network the other day.
How was it?
I mean, I don't know.
Do you think it meant to convince you, or was it meant for you to hate him? Like, was it good? You hated it.
I hated it, but I don't know. It might be meant to convince Californians or whoever his, I don't even know what to think anymore about these people. It's amazing that we have this Tom Steyer guy who didn't show up till like a month ago. He's made every debate. Meanwhile, Tulsi, Yang, who've been, busting their asses for almost a year and a half here, they don't make it. And I understand they didn't meet the criteria, but I also think, okay, are they setting the criteria for certain reasons? All that Steyer has done is put a ton of money into ads in these certain areas where he knows that they're taking these polls from, and he's gaming the whole system.
Are the polls even real? Like, on my way home today, I got like a news alert on my phone that said that Steyer is now third in some like new poll.
I saw that too. How is that possible?
Like, how? I'd have never met any
Has
Steyer
anyone met a Steyer supporter?
No,
I haven't even seen his commercials.
Google him today. Like, I do a daily news show, and I was like, wait, Steyer, I know that guy. And he supported Stacey Abrams in Georgia.
It all ties in.
who's that guy? And then so I found out who he is. And it annoyed me today on the debate when he said, I think it was him. I started from scratch. I'm a super mega billionaire, whatever, but I
out of a bedroom or something. Like,
how did he make his money?
But his story is he's got like a lot of red flags for me. He is a Yale secret society guy, the rich secret society guy. I forget what it's called.
Skull and Bones?
No,
it's not
it's
Skull
not
and Bones.
I wouldn't forget that one.
Yeah.
It's I have it written down somewhere. So it's a Wolf's Head. And his father worked at Sullivan Cromwell, which is like the Dulles Brothers firm.
A real rags to riches story here.
Say that again.
It's a real rags to riches story.
Yeah, right. Here. But his father was a trial attorney at Nuremberg.
Whoa.
At the Nuremberg trials.
His father?
Wow. Yes, and
how old is this guy?
I know, he's pretty old. But yeah, his father, and you've got to wonder, I mean, that had to have been an extremely political appointment.
Yeah, so, you got to be pretty connected to be at Nuremberg in any way, shape, or form.
And he was one of the lawyers. So
it seems if you were involved in something I heard about that happened in the 40s, it's probably a big deal.
Exactly, like Nancy Pelosi. It's like your father was somebody. Like that's enough for me. It's like a blue check on Twitter. I'm just like. Let's just do a whole show conspiracizing about these people because there's not that much to talk about. I don't feel like I heard anything that new tonight. Not that I ever do. Let's do our list. Let's do what.
Let's go through the list. Well, we already did.
Oh, there's one I'm going to have a hard time with.
All right, most status moment. Let's go, Howie. What do you got?
Well, I used this.
I wrote for the record. I just wrote all things Tom Steyer.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to bring it up even though he didn't say it, but then he said it. When Tom Steyer said he's elected president, he's going to declare a state of emergency over climate change.
Day one.
I'm like, I don't know what kind of nightmare Gestapo life we're going to have after his climate change state of emergency, but that's what scares me the most.
They're already controlling our toilets, so I don't know how much worse it can get.
Did you guys see that news article today? We're saying the oceans are heating up at a rate as if 5 Hiroshima bombs are going off every minute.
I also saw that and also thought that's absolutely ridiculous.
That seems a little exaggerated.
And then you wonder, like, are those
I'm no scientist, but that seems like bullshit to me.
But I mean, are nukes not hot? Like maybe they just made things go on fire. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a trick question.
Our last episode, we were talking about maybe they're not all they're correct.
They're not real, right? Like I don't even know.
Well, yeah, but that was the we think they're real, but not as big of a deal as
they're real, but not that bad. That's the Lions of Liberty official position on nuclear weapons.
Would you rather be in Dresden or Hiroshima?
I think I might go Hiroshima.
Who cares?
I might actually go Hiroshima.
Whatever.
I've seen survivors from Hiroshima.
At least I get like a cool shadow thing on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know which fire burns you to death faster.
I think I would, and if you did die in Hiroshima, at least you would probably be more likely to be like vaporized if you're real close to it.
Yes.
Whereas Dresden, you're just burning in actual fire.
Plus, people would talk about you. Yeah. Unlike firebomb to death, who cares? Nuke to death, let's talk.
Regular bombs, no bigs. By all means, don't nuke them.
That's why I don't understand. It's like, we're bombing all these people, killing them, whatever. Who cares? And it's like, someone used chemical weapons. What?
Like you guys. And
you can't kill people like that. You have to drop bombs.
By the way, every bomb is a chemical weapon.
I had a great video. I don't know if it got wiped when I got kind of wiped off the internet. When they took my WordPress site down, like all my media disappeared. So I had my words, but I didn't have my pictures. And one of the things I found back then was CNN had posted this video of the chemical weapons. And it was like in some cave with a bunch of like ragged, whatever. It was clearly like not the government's chemicals. And they just, they promote these.
Yeah.
Ideas that whatever, but
this is just where the CIA dropped them off.
Right. So, okay, my most status moment was it was two. Steyer said affordable health care is a right. And I just had to back up and be like, what's affordable health care? Like, what does that even mean? What's affordable?
Like, at least say free. At least I know what that means,
Yes. What does affordable
I have no idea
Can I ask you guys a question? I don't think any of us are rich here, right?
I consider myself rich with love for my friends.
Have you ever
not
been able to afford a prescription you needed?
I don't need prescriptions.
No, but I haven't really needed a prescription, so it's hard for me to say.
Oh yeah, but all right. Oh, I have, but yeah, I've never. No, it's
no.
like,
And here's the thing that that baffles me is that I have always had insurance myself or my husband, or whatever. I've always had insurance. It always costs $15. The only thing I really, really, really need, and I'm not just like viewing from a recreational viewpoint, is antibiotics. Right, and they're like free.
Oh, you don't do recreational antibiotics?
You can't get recreational. I don't know. Like, I've never taken enough to actually see if it impacts your mind. But somebody had a cough, and I was like, hey,
apparently, if you take them and drink, you don't have to drink as much. I don't know. That might be.
Is that really? I thought that was painkillers.
I don't know, because you know how they tell you not to drink on it.
I think that's because it makes them less effective.
That's what they say, but who can believe anything? But yeah,
Howie just takes them and drinks as much as possible just to see.
Well, I'm like, either the antibiotics will kill the disease or the booze will kill it.
Any pill he has lying around, as soon as he opens the Welsh,
the Welsh whiskey
liquor, he's like, let's see how a pill might improve this. No, but I never understand this like prescription. To your point, Howie, I don't understand the like problem with prescription. Everyone now with Obamacare, doesn't everyone have insurance? Like, who is paying out of pocket $400 a pill or whatever?
It has to be only people that don't have insurance at this point.
I pay because I never spend enough to meet my deductible. It's like, because I don't spend that much on healthcare a year. Because
they don't allow you, and they don't allow you to have just catastrophic care. Like, I hate to get serious, guys, but this really makes me freaking bananas. Like, my risk of a health crisis is like nothing. My catastrophic healthcare should be like $1,000 a year with 100 million other people in this exact same abysmally low.
Before Obamacare, I paid about $100 a month for catastrophic insurance. I didn't use it ever, and I was the perfect person for that. And then it became illegal and became 3 times as much for something I didn't need for a $12,000 deductible.
Right, because you have to pay for my fertility treatments.
Right.
Dude, even before that, though, it's like cartels. Like, why can't I get insurance from India? Why not?
Yeah.
Right, or none.
Or no.
Obviously. And this is the thing, like Medicare for all. I'm like, why do billionaires need Medicare?
So they can control us.
That's the problem with the Obamacare thing, is that it gives it to the rich. You know what I mean? It's not a welfare program. I'm not in favor of, I'm an anarchist. Like, I don't care about any of that. But just logically, the problem with universal health care is that our system gives Medicare and Medicaid. It gives Medicare to everybody who's like paid into it. Gives Medicaid to poor people. And they're just like, no, we need to also give healthcare to rich people.
Yeah. I mean, to me, not being like 100% ideologically principle consistent, I'm like, all right, something like Social Security, we need to phase it out. How do we start doing this? One thing I'd be like, all right, people that are rich, let's just stop giving it to them first off.
They're going to do that.
We're going to, like, the people that right now are dependent on it, let's kind of take care of them. And the rest of us, like, somebody's got to take the hit.
Well, you have to restore the previous system, which was family.
Yes, all these things have caused like a breakdown in society.
That's why Ron Reagan's got these commercials playing.
Dude, like seriously, I don't know if it's just a me thing. But it's like it made me want to go to church. But I don't know if it's just because like, all right, I see an anti-vaping ad. I want to.
Democrats make me want to find God. That's true.
If you put in an ad on telling me not to do something, I want to do it. So go ahead, keep it up.
I start thinking that I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and then I talk to my mother who's 91 and she's been super religious, whatever, and I like try to talk to her about like intellectual, but Mom, like I can't get my mind around having no brain and having a conversation or knowing my own name when I'm rotting in a coffin. Like I can't get my mind around it. She's like, you know what, I was like 19 and I just realized it was a better way to live. And, you know, so I don't like thinking
I love this impression of your mother, who I've never met, but I feel like it's accurate.
So accurate. It's so, she was straight. She was not straight off the boat from Ireland, but her parents were, and she grew up in Brooklyn and it's dying. Like there's, after her, you'll never hear it again. Except
do you know what part of Ireland they're from?
Yes, because I'm a citizen of Ireland.
Oh, really?
And I visited my native, I actually found the cemetery, which I could not read because it was in Gaelic.
I wonder if I could become a citizen of Ireland, because my 23andMe said I'm like
I just got married in Ireland a little over a year ago.
Oh, where? We're from Mayo, and I also went to Galway.
Okay, in Adair, Limerick County.
Oh,
we stayed in Fanningstown Castle for a week. It was awesome.
Oh, how awesome! I love it. And this is the number one reason I'm super annoyed with the EU. is that they really messed with Ireland. They like flooded it with cheap debt. Yeah. And then that attracted like a ton of immigration, and then they kind of bankrupted it. And I don't even care. Like, America's a melting pot. I'm totally down with it. But cultures are cool. Like, aren't even the multiculturalists like into culture? I clearly, like, I went there. I was in the cemetery. I like started talking to people in the cemetery. It's like, oh yeah, we're
the living people,
huh?
The living people?
Little green people. Yes.
No, the living people in the cemetery?
Yes, okay. Yes. I was talking to actual living people, and I was like, I'm a malarkey. And they literally looked at me. I mean, yes, I have brown eyes and brown hair, but like, I didn't look completely like not telling the truth. And they were just like, I was like, well, are there any malarkeys around? Like, yeah, but I wouldn't bother them if I were you. It was just like a very insular thing, which I respect, but I was interested kind of in the culture, and it's only actually still insular over there because they're so poor. But in the cities, and then they changed the culture. Did
you see the Barack Obama Plaza thing that they have there now?
No, but I remember the huge worldwide hit.
Yeah, I went there. They have like a little museum. You go in, there's this thing. It's like, no one's more Irish than Barack Hussein Obama.
Oh my God. But you know what?
It's like a town of 50,000 people, and like 30,000 of them work at this like place.
You know what makes me super? Oh, that's funny.
30,000 of them work at this
maybe not that. I think I've been drinking all night. I got it. It's a town where most of the people work at this.
Note to the audience: Howie's numbers may or may not be accurate.
but
the spirit is always correct.
The spirit, not the letter of the law. The spirit.
People were
kind of like Trump. You just toss numbers out there. Yeah.
Exuberant and jubilant about Obama winning. The whole world, including the Irish people, because they felt it was a way to like put that behind us and have redemption and atone for like a collective, people who think in a collective terms. They really were so happy that the people of the United States voted like exceeding the numbers of registered Democrats. So it was like all registered plus a bunch of other people. So they voted.
I was really hoping he'd end the wars and stuff like he said. I was hopeful and
everything, because the wars, if you look at the George Carlin stuff, it's all about color, and like he could really have healed us. And instead, and I feel like the Meghan Markle thing is like that this could have been this post-racial watershed.
Do you mean that Meghan Markle, she won't move to the U.S. unless Trump loses?
Gosh!
Did you hear about that?
That's a compelling argument for Trump.
They're staying in Canada unless he loses. They want to move to L.A., but only if Trump loses re-election.
See, but Canada is a commonwealth of. It's still
I've always had a good time there.
Isn't it true that the Queen of England can just like dissolve Canada's parliament at any moment if she so chooses?
Yeah, it never separated from.
Isn't it mind-boggling that royalty is still a thing in 2020?
What's mind-boggling to me is that we have this constitution, we had the revolution, and our system is almost exactly the same as Canada, Australia, and the UK. It's like, who do we think we are?
I kind of think a real monarchy might be better than our democracy.
I do. That's what won me over to Hapa. Is that I was like, now that I think about it.
It's like, all right, we'll let one family live off us. That's fine.
There is an argument, a strong argument.
Because you can just kill them.
Oh, that too,
They're scared.
I mean, the big problem with politicians that are coming in and out of government where they have no responsibility. I mean, they can do whatever they want for this amount of time, and they hold none of the blame, none of the, it never gets attached to them. They move on to their private life, and now all the blame shifts to the next group of politicians. But at least with a monarchy, it's like, all right, this is your country, man. It's you.
So kids are going to die. And the shorter the term, I feel like the faster and harder they do that. I understand the concept behind term limits, and people swear by them. But first of all, it's unconstitutional. And second of all, I just don't understand.
Term limits would have taken Ron Paul out of office like so long ago.
He actually took himself. I don't know how they would have worked, but he promised to only be like a 2-term guy, and then he took himself out. Remember?
Yeah.
Then he came back.
I see your point, but I still think term limits would do more good than harm.
I want to believe in them because people I respect. I just feel like I have a mental block.
I feel like they would make no significant difference one way or the other.
Really, the only thing that would work is to get rid of the government
and install the Howie Snowden monarchy.
Inherently,
or that.
I'll vote for you as king. Why not? That's the argument, actually. Why not? That's your entire platform.
I will force them to be free.
It's gonna be free whether you like it or not. Damn it!
They'll be like, take my freedom, take my freedom. It's like, no, you keep them. I will not take.
Please, them. Lord, please silence our speech, Lord. You're like, no, I will not.
Please, King. Please, Steppy. No.
Please ban drugs. Ban us from choice.
Beware.
You're like, I'm not doing that. I'm definitely not doing that.
I can't make decisions for myself.
I mean, that's the thing. I look back at
everyone is Oliver Twist in our version of
yes.
They practically are, anyways. Jesus.
That's what I want to name my bar.
Oliver Twist. Oh, that's a good one.
Olive or Twist.
That is a good one.
But
that's what we should call all the.
Should we take all this Patreon money and put it into your bar?
It's a little too dated because
we're still making the whiskey, right?
Can't drink straight gin anymore.
The booty, the Pete smoke.
I have to. Yeah, the Pete smoke.
All drinks come with Pete smoke.
I really liked Bombay Sapphire, but I heard it getting like banned for something.
Why?
Or like
I
don't know.
In it?
I don't know. There was some problem where.
They tried to ban fire. They wanted to ban Fireball, or they did in Europe.
Oh yeah, it's got like antifreeze or something in it, right?
Yeah, that's a little antifreeze.
Come on, you know what?
It's delicious.
That's why it keeps you warm.
NutraSweet
that's why dogs love it.
Metabolizes into formaldehyde. NutraSweet metabolizes into formaldehyde. So like NutraSweet, which
that seems worse.
A Rumsfeld.
Though, actually, so my dad was a funeral director, and one thing
Diet Pepsi to embody.
One thing I heard about is like people would try to steal formaldehyde because apparently if you like dip cigarettes in it, it's like PCP kind of.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, interesting.
It's awesome.
Never
be
did
right
it.
back.
No, I don't know.
Howie's the one who can probably go to the drums in the basement.
I've talked to people that have done PCP in the past, and they're like, "It sounds awful."
Yeah, right. What is it like?
Like, I don't know. I haven't done it. It's one of those things. It's like I've got a short list of things I never do, and PCP is definitely one of the things on that list.
And I have a list. I have a list that says anything how I want to. I want to.
It's probably a wise decision.
That's the whole list.
Because I've only got like 3 or 4 things on my list. So
I feel like you shouldn't smoke, drink, or eat anything that you can't figure out what it came out of the ground as.
It's a decent rule. That rules out
which
meth.
includes your Welsh and everything. Actually, let's take drinking off of that. You can drink things.
Well, what? That came from like grains and.
I know, but we already established that we can't figure out exactly.
It's the peat smoke. It's fine.
Whatever. It's peat.
Could be soylent brown.
It's some kind of grain.
It is. It is likely a grain.
All right. Why don't we?
The distillation process takes out the gluten.
Why don't we transition to something to something about the debate? A fun thing about the debate.
I don't know, maybe that might not be true.
I'm going to buy it for now.
Seems true.
Did you guys have a funniest moment? I had one. Again, this is the Tom Steyer debate, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
My funniest moment was when Tom Steyer was talking about his emergency declaration. That part's not funny, but one guy in the audience started going. And then he immediately, like, you could hear him like, "Oh, I'm the only one clapping for emergency declaration. I will just wind it down." I audibly laughed so hard to myself for about 5 minutes.
The guy had like the knee boots on.
This guy is ready for the Tom Steyer Boogaloo.
For the dictatorship.
Tom Steyer might be the candidate for the Boogaloo.
For the Boogaloo, the one to
like if you want it to happen, the national emergency day one, I think.
Yeah, if you're pro Boogs, you might want to go Steyer.
Grab our guns and don our Hawaiian shirts. And
that's the go signal. No, my funniest moment was when Aunt Liz called Bernie old. That was 30 years ago. She said...
And he's like, that was just 1990. I've been in office way longer than that.
Oh, well, technically speaking, if you're doing math, it is 30 years.
Like, I have been doing this since the 70s, Elizabeth.
Older than I am, honey.
Dude, he must have felt so slighted that a socialist was using math.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't work. Well,
how about the part where he completely denied that he ever said this thing, which I believe Bernie on this one.
I do too.
And then
it was ridiculous.
It's also stupid. But then the moderator immediately after he denies it, she goes, "Okay, Liz, how'd you feel when Bernie said that about you?" Bernie's just like, "What the fuck?"
Only because it was not a plausible thing to say. Is Michelle Obama?
And if you were going to say that, why is this coming out? Why is she saying it now? Like,
yeah,
come on.
And sure, she lied about being Native American. Sure, she lied about being fired because she was pregnant. Sure, she lied about not sending her kids to private school.
Good.
Yeah, I'll say a lot of things about Bernie, but I feel like he is a true believer in what he says about himself.
Until he went pro-war.
I think he's just spineless. I think he believes what he says.
He has no
spineless coward.
That's the biggest. Well, not the biggest problem with Bernie is he's a socialist. But besides that, he's a spineless socialist.
I mean,
worst kind.
If I was trying to beat Hillary Clinton and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna kill you," I might be like, "Okay, I throw my support behind her."
Right, get a little slinky disease.
Do you think he was threatened in any way back then?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Or is he just a spineless?
Orchestrated.
Everything. All of it.
Everything.
Monica might be the only one who can out-conspiracize the
Hillary. I still think Hillary might be the candidate. This is going to a brokered convention, I think.
Oh, so you think it gets contended and then she just swoops in at the last minute?
Dude, if all these people stay in, like the top 3-4 are pretty much evenly split. And this time, the first round, the superdelegates don't get to vote. So it's not going to be established.
They changed that?
Yeah, so it's not going to be just the establishment.
So they're only deciders in the case of it doesn't. In case if it goes to the other rounds.
It goes second round. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I think there's a really high chance that the candidate isn't even in the race yet, and I can't wait to see her lose all over again.
I can't take any of this seriously because none of those people.
It doesn't matter.
Possible to beat Trump, even if voting were real, which I have serious doubts about. I just can't see that in a real contest, any of those people would be someone you'd get, make a detour on the way home from work to cast a vote for.
Yeah.
None of them beats the Icelandic porter that you're drinking. You know what I mean? Nothing's worth 5 minutes of I could vote or I could just go home.
Can we talk a little bit about the Libertarian nomination?
We can. Why not? Monica, did you have a funny moment?
Oh, sorry.
No, just that Liz called Bernie old, and I thought it was funny.
Oh, that's what you said. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I did answer this question. I did not have a single funny moment. I didn't laugh once, but I knew
multiple times. Actually,
I knew this was a question, so I did notice that Bernie got 4 laughs. I'm like, well, those weren't really that funny, and I thought he would be the only one to get laughs all night. But then at the end, Buttigieg said something that also wasn't that funny and got a laugh. So Buttigieg got 1 laugh. Bernie got 4 laughs. I laughed 0 times.
Andrew Yang had better jokes than any of them, and his weren't even that good either.
Well, and
I laughed when Tulsi would roast Kamala. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun because she was right. But I had an uncle who was a priest who turned me on to Murray Rothbard and was actually, I believe, maybe interviewed by Lou Rockwell 30 years ago. And he told me that liberals don't have a sense of humor because they have no objective standards. That you have to have a modicum of objectivism to have humor, because humor is the element of surprise. And if you're trained to accept everything, you can really not laugh at anything. So the funny moment would be us laughing at them more than them saying.
This show is the funny moment.
This also explains the left can't meme.
Ah, interesting. That would explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Howie, you wanted to divert us into the Libertarian nomination. I'm totally fine with that.
Just because
I'm fine with any diversion, to be honest with you.
Just because we were talking about who would you drive yourself to vote for, and in the Libertarian nomination this year, I think Jacob Hornberger is awesome. We have a normal dude who actually is a libertarian and can spread our message well. I have no delusion he'd become president, but he could get a microphone and be able to whisper liberty in people's ears.
And he wasn't in a Podesta email or any. Yeah. There's no.
If he doesn't get it,
Easter egg.
I don't care about I'd rather have Vermin Supreme or John McAfee than some failed Republican that's not going to spread.
I didn't vote Libertarian last time.
I didn't either.
That's how
I didn't either. Weld was a bridge too far.
I will admit, I also didn't.
What?
I didn't either.
Yeah,
I didn't vote for president last time.
Weld literally said when he got the nomination that he had read the Libertarian platform that morning.
I checked it out. It seemed all right.
It seemed all right.
I don't know about this guns and drug stuff, but everything else, I don't know.
The election prior, I voted for Gary Johnson. He's not perfect, But
you thought
but I could have done it again, but Weld and him shilling for Hillary, who to me is like Satan herself.
You know that, right? He begged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Begged at the convention.
Hey, guys, guess what?
For Weld.
Guess what, guys? I didn't even realize this, but we have a question and answer feature on this Zoom meeting. Oh. And we have a question.
Are there a lot of
from Brent, who I believe is a relatively new patron.
Is this something you can see that I can't see? Last thing I see is
it might be
fact-checking Howie.
Yeah, so there's the chat.
I see that too.
Yeah, there's the chat, but there's also a Q&A section.
He's from Wales.
And
hey, fact checker, was I right about? Wait, what was that thing we weren't sure if I was right about?
The Howie fact check.
The smoking man.
There's an option to wait. How do I answer live? Well, we answer it live. You would like to answer the question live.
I said it, but I think I might have made it up. I don't know.
All right, I pressed the button that says answer the question live. I don't know what that means, but we're just going to say it.
Oh, anyway, Q&A. I click on that.
Yeah, Brent has a question. He said, I find it funny that most of the candidates are millionaires. Isn't that what the progressives were supposedly fighting against? I guess the collection.
Oh, you innocent child.
oh, you're so adorable, Brent. I think Monica should take this one.
I have an answer to that. My father, who taught me libertarianism, which at the time, like, he just thought he was a conservative, but then conservatism went pro-war. And but he would say to me, like, I don't understand why these rich guys, businessmen, are Democrats. I don't understand it. I mean, it just makes no sense. And then I dropped out of high school. I went to community college, and I ended up transferring to Harvard. So, like, I had this whole new impression of the world. Like, not overnight, but pretty quick. I certainly got the facts that I needed to answer that question, which is that the Democrat system allows all of the money and power to go to a political control system. They're all central planners. And if you can tap into that, it's like Ukraine is like the ultimate example. Everything is put into the central basket. And the few people who get a piece of that, boy, the sky's the limit. You don't even actually have to add value, which is very risky. Like being a real businessman and trying your hardest, or like even being like, it's like sports. Like you can try your hardest and somebody might be better. They can go in there and just use blackmail or political or whatever, and they can have access to all that wealth without actually adding the value. And actually, when you add the value and have a free market system, there is what they call this race to economic zero. So that's why John D. Rockefeller said competition is a sin, that they compete away. People will enter your market until there's just no obscene profits left. Only a government can stop that.
That might have been the best argument for pure anarchism I've ever heard. Or I'm just drunk. I don't know.
I'm
pretty impressed that I could do that drunk.
That was good.
One thing that was kind of instructive to me on the way this all works is when I was a kid, I was friends with I can't say names.
It's okay if you don't remember.
There's a family in my town that was very mafia connected. We'll just say father is a billionaire, and
you can't tease me like that.
Donated.
No. Don't say it.
He donated.
Yeah, we do want you to live.
But when I found out he donated to all the Republicans and all the Democrats that were running, like he gave the money to everybody. Mm-hmm. So no matter what happened, I was like, oh, that's how it works.
Right.
Okay.
And the Democrats can get away with more of the plans because they are telling their people the truth. We're taking over everything. The Republicans have to lie to the voters and say, we're not taking over everything, which is why, in my opinion, they like to be second. They don't like to be in control. They like to pretend like they're fighting for that, but they definitely don't want like freedom and liberty and small government. They don't want it, but they have to act like they do, whereas the Democrats don't even have to act like they do.
Democrats are a bit worse, right?
Well, on the one hand, they are.
I think that
their ideology is wrong. But the Republicans were, I think, infiltrated first by the military-industrial complex. I've read that
I
think it's true.
Who's the Democratic, like, Massey or Rand Paul or like?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can't name one or two.
Tulsi did, but she's fake.
What if she's fake? What's the point of her?
She's a member of the CFR.
I don't know.
Blame to draw fire.
I don't know.
To make it look like there's real debate. That's why I think
I'm not saying there's not.
Then why not keep her in the debate?
I'm not saying there's not anything to that, but I bet you if you knew more about me, they'd be like, there's a lot of red flags on Howie Snowden, dude.
Your name is Snowden, which is big.
You'd be like, listen,
it's Owen though. Owen.
He was educated by Jesuits. He was an intel analyst for the Army and then the Defense Intelligence Agency for over a decade.
Yeah, he's looking pretty bad.
He's a Freemason in all these Masonic organizations. You'd be like,
you're making a strong argument against yourself here.
I know, but the thing is, I never get shit from people because
Googling you.
I'm never. Nobody says that because I'm never on here saying status bullshit. So
that's what I say.
I don't get that.
Is that it doesn't matter if you're like, even people think Ron Paul. I mean, I've heard it suggested. I don't know how many people really think it, but that he's
what? Come on.
It doesn't matter though. It doesn't. It's even Alex Jones was clearly a not even limited hang. It was just ridiculous. Actually makes things worse.
Was he not more right than CNN though? Like more?
Is he more often correct?
Alex Jones?
Yes. Alex Jones.
Yes, right. Yes, as far as
right?
goes, he's closer to the truth.
You could definitely argue that Alex Jones has put out less disinformation than CNN.
Usually you find out like 10 years later.
Alex Jones never put out information that led to the invasion of a country, as far as I know.
But he's what I call a taint agent.
That sounds intriguing. Can you explain this more?
Tell us more.
Yeah, like he takes a really good argument. Like he was on Piers Morgan after Sandy Hook, and he was also was the Gun Owners of America guy, Larry Pratt. And Larry Pratt made this great argument and just like got.
Love Larry Pratt, by the way. He's helping us out in Virginia right now where they're trying to stomp out our rights.
I love him. If he ever wants to be on my radio
Did you know Civil War II is about to start? He's been on my
show. I could connect you guys.
Yeah, tell him. But anyway, he ran Piers Morgan out of town. What did you say, Howie? I'm sorry.
Like the second Civil War is about to start here in Virginia right now, but Larry Pratt has been coming to our
cities. Wow,
he's been coming to the meetings. Actually, not as representative of Gun Owners of America, but as a fucking citizen. Like,
did you hear Michael Bolton talk about sanctuary cities?
It's bullshit. Yeah, I know. I understand that. I understand. Yes.
Oh no, you know it's bullshit.
Right. It does send maybe a good message to legislators.
What?
Well, last Monday's show, Michael Bolton was on with us, and he was talking about Second Amendment because in Virginia, you might be able to speak better to it, Howie. There are a number of cities and counties, et cetera, that the sheriffs have just declared them Second Amendment sanctuaries.
124 out of like 143 counties and cities have said we're Second Amendment.
But Michael Bolton was saying they're doing it in an entirely wrong way, and it's not. They're not changing any laws, so they're actually it's actually bad if people think they're going to these cities thinking that they're in some kind of protected area.
Are they looking for a backfire the way these abortion laws seem to?
Perhaps.
So this doesn't have the force of law behind it. It's a resolution. Like we're just saying our opinion is we think this is bullshit. Right. Which, okay, that's good to express that, but we don't want people to have the false sense that, I live in one of these areas, so you
can just come bring your machine gun. You're good to go. Like that's not what it is.
So but
there are other good things. So like where my in-laws live down in Culpeper, their sheriff, which is an elected position, obviously these laws don't apply to law enforcement. And he's like, I'll deputize every person in the county so they can keep their guns.
Well, we are all deputies, right? For the purpose of gun ownership. No, I'm serious. Like,
and three militias have started up in Virginia. One by a sheriff who's like, the money they're going to give me for this gun control shit. It's like, I'm using this to start up and train a militia.
That's a mistake that our founders maybe made. And Switzerland, what do you say about that? The great fortress.
In the Virginia Constitution, it's every male able-bodied over like age 15.
That's what it is in Switzerland, and they have to have an arsenal.
Yeah, there's three categories of militia in Virginia. One would be like the National Guard. One is, I don't know, something I can't remember. And the other is every able-bodied man are part of the militia.
I have to assume TJ penned that.
Yeah, most likely. I think he might be canceled now, though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Who's not canceled now?
Are like,
Vince Vaughn's canceled. What?
Which I happen to have a sneak preview as the subject for Brian's show tomorrow, or one of the subjects, because I saw the headline in our system.
One thing, Vince Vaughn is awesome. I love him as an actor. I'm so cool he's a libertarian. But when he was on Tom Woods, like, his libertarian talk was a little weak.
But
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Razz him for shaking Trump's hand.
No, I don't. That's
so stupid.
The last celebrity that did that, Kim Kardashian, saved a woman's life. Oh. More celebrities should be doing that.
Oh, the right ones.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Maybe just Vince Vaughn and Kim.
Yeah. Actually, are there any other like
one or two celebrities? That's
maybe Penn Teller.
Like, don't let Kevin Spacey get in his ear.
Kane.
While we're talking about everything besides the debate, should we talk about how Kevin Spacey's a real life supervillain?
Yes.
Because that's insane. Are you
seriously?
How about however, like 3 people that are connected to accusing him of things have died, especially under four, not only under weird circumstances, but also after he posts creepy videos threatening them in the character.
Did you see that? Did you see that last video? Did you see the last one? The Kill Them with Kindness video?
Yeah.
Well, I saw that before this dude died.
The weirdest thing is he's doing it in the he's in character of what's the damn show on Netflix?
House of Cards.
Yeah, he's using that Louisiana accent. Like he is that character,
right? F-U?
It's like he's just really saying, "Yeah, fuck it."
Hold on, I got to post something on Twitter.
I am this person, and this is who I am, and I am killing these people. I mean, he may as well be saying that.
It seems staged to me, stuff like that.
I'm buying more and more into how
4 of his accusers are dead. Hold on. I'm looking at my Twitter. There was a Epstein-related thing that I saw during the debates.
He was at a party with Hoffman and Zuckerberg and Elon Musk's brother, and I'm like, you guys don't think this is a cabal?
What a crowd!
I mean, come on. And they're just like, they emphasize Elon Musk's brother. I'm like, really? I don't know. Whatever.
I kind of want to like Elon Musk for some reason.
Yeah, don't.
I don't know why I feel that way, but
he's bad.
That's how you know he's really bad. He makes you want to like him.
Is it the flamethrower or when he smoked pot on Joe Rogan?
Before I was kind of woke, I remember him saying like AI is the thing we need to be afraid of and government needs to take control of it. And I was like, wow, that doesn't sound right. And then
I don't know. The Age of Ultron movie sucked, but the Age of Ultron comic books, I read that. I was legitimately scared about AI for like a little bit. I'm like,
I think it's legitimately scary, but I don't think the answer is put it in the hands of government.
No. But I think I agree with where we can't beat them. We got to join them.
Like, totally. But they're like Google is leading the charge in it. And we created Google to.
Google is evil. Google is so evil.
Birds of a feather. There's an article in Quartz about how the NSA started Google. Quartz.com, whatever. And they talk about how the main goal of it originally was to isolate birds of a feather to identify and kind of corral terrorists. Then at the same time, Google Jigsaw has this AI thing where they're trying to figure out how to detect sarcasm in comments and all this kind of stuff. So they're trying to be AI that looks real on the internet. I actually think that what they're trying to do is create entire social groups, total birds of a feather collectives around each individual so that you think you're in a world of people. You think you're taking social cues and pressing limits and getting feedback from real people, but it's AI.
It's all bots.
Like Google, and that is what the NSA created.
Do you guys use Google?
That's super creepy.
Yeah, sure.
I don't.
I use everything.
I use DuckDuckGo.
You know what I find now? I find I have a lot of like websites and programs or like and stuff that I can't get them to work at certain browsers, and then they only work in Google Chrome.
Yes.
And I'm like, now I have to use Google Chrome.
Sometimes I've seen like hilarious memes or certain things, and I'll like go to find I want to show my wife, and I'll like try to search it on my phone. And it doesn't come up. I'm like, oh shit, my phone's using Google. And I'll get on my computer with DuckDuckGo. I was like, oh, there's the funny shit.
Ever since the internet closed on February 14th, 2018, you can find things on DuckDuckGo that you can't find on Google.
I found the Jeffrey Epstein thing.
The internet closed on a date?
I found the Jeffrey Epstein thing.
I called it. I called the peak.
This is important, guys.
Okay.
Jeffrey Epstein's butler, who stole the businessman's crucial black book,
spent more time in jail than him, and
has died.
He died years ago.
Oh, I should have read the actual article. They didn't just die like now. Why did someone just tweet this 21 hours ago?
I mean, he might have
like 9,000 times, and no one cares. That guy spent more time in jail than Jeffrey Epstein, and then he died.
And Ghislaine Maxwell is being protected by Mossad.
Yeah, like Angelo Rodriguez or something. What's his name? Sorry, Howie. I didn't mean to scoop you. That's not my thing.
No. Hey, I don't want to spread disinformation.
It was real information.
Or do you? Or is that the entire reason you're here?
Take out but no, about that Parkland shooting. So I tried to figure out what happened in Parkland, and that Sheriff Israel had been a football coach there. His kids went to school.
It seems the fact his name's Sheriff Israel already throws me off.
I know.
Seems it's a simulation, dude. It's gotta be.
Yeah. No, the name thing, I collect a list of
First gay president, Booty Judge.
I think it's Booty Gig, but you're right. I mean, Booty Judge is even worse. But no, when I couldn't figure out the real story, like it was hard for me to do research on the Parkland shooting, I came out immediately and I said, oh, the internet closed. Within a week, the WSB, so the FCC okayed show I did on the radio and posted to YouTube, got taken down within a week of me calling the internet is closed. And then that August, that was in February, that August, my entire WordPress, everything I had on WordPress got just totally taken down. No explanation.
That whole thing, that
and
kid that was...
I can't find a good conspiracy theory anywhere. Like
that kid was supposed to be the shooter. I got like an MK Ultra vibe from that whole situation.
You know, they always have the father's dead. Like, there's nobody there to protect.
But even
them.
Just like looking at him and like the way he doesn't remember, doesn't know. Like, it seems like it's somebody who's
drugs.
been. Like,
there's a certain look in the eyes. You're like, I don't know.
He's not like a guy who's like, I did this because of this and this and this. It seems like somebody who was like, fucked
I think he had
head.
nothing to do with it. I don't even think he was there. But whatever. I can't tell.
Maybe
because
not.
I used to be able to amass all the bullshit and then pull out the truth. Like, I had Truthdar. That was my thing.
So listening, I've heard you speak a lot about the Boston bombing and how you saw that story change.
That was my thing. And then I just stopped really digging in because I was like, the scales fell from my eyes. I figured it all out. And I mean,
I'm kind of the point where it's all fucking crazy. I just need to be able to protect myself and my wife and my dogs.
Yeah, no,
that's pretty much all you can do at some point is just take care of yourself and speak the truth. And what else can we really do?
I was actually on their radar for that one. Like, numerous times I was kind of targeted by or like it was the weirdest thing. Like, I'm not overselling my importance. I have no importance, but this, because I was on WSB, I would put stuff out there, and I think they don't care. They put enough disinformation out that if I did the exact same thing for something that was out there now, they would not be interested. But they did, and so I this one thing I said, which was, you'll never see a picture of Jahar Tsarnaev alive. He's not. He's dead. He's not alive. And then when they said he was going to trial, I was like, hey, remember when I told you you'd never see a picture of him alive? You won't. And then you didn't. And I promoted that on my show. And like a week later, they had this weird, distorted picture of him. And then his friend got killed and the wife called me from Russia. I mean, really weird stuff happened. I would get I got something on Facebook that said, hey, don't say you're sure.
Wait. So how did they have like your contact and stuff? Like,
I mean, I was able to get a hold of her today. I don't think it's that hard.
Oh,
yeah, no. I mean, I used to have a website with my email on it, and they would,
you said they called you. Okay.
So they would just communicate with me that way, and then there was a guy who, when I said, like, I spent 10 hours looking at every single available picture of Tamerlan Tsarnaev from his boxing days, and I identified him unequivocally as the naked man CNN showed as getting into a cop car that night, unequivocally, because his nipples were so weirdly situated on the lower right of his extremely rectangular pecs. I was like, there's nobody else on earth that looks like that. Here are the pictures, blah, blah, blah. And I was saying that on my show, and in real time, this one guy was calling me and Facebooking me and saying, stop saying that you know it. Just say you think it. Stop saying you know it. And I was like,
weird.
What?
Years later, I realized creepy.
Like, he was giving me the warning that, let me tell you all, if I got that warning now, I'm smart enough to take it.
That is creepy.
Me the warning.
That was creepy, and please be careful. But speaking about how things look, the snapshot that leaked out of Epstein dead, to me, looks a bit different than Epstein. And the pictures we've seen recently of Hillary Clinton alive does not look like Hillary Clinton to me. I posit,
think of it, Howie, you don't look like the Howie
I posit that Jeffrey Epstein is alive and Hillary Clinton is dead.
I think Jeffrey Epstein might be alive and Ghislaine Maxwell is dead. I don't think you're ever going to see again.
I never even thought about that. I just figured they shoved her off to her cereal. We won't see her again.
Well, this is really fun because we've talked about everything. But
you want to keep going?
I could do this all night. Actually,
I'm out of cocktails.
I don't have to work tomorrow.
I'm having a good time. Come on, let's
keep over.
No, well, I'm not closing the show. I'm saying maybe we should go back and just do a few more things about the actual thing in hand. Just an idea. Just an idea, because this is the last. What do you think we've talked about the debate? 2% of the show, which I have no problem with.
Dude, it sucked. We're doing everyone a favor by not talking about it.
I think we're putting on a way better debate show than if we talked about the debate.
I tweeted my heart out. If you actually care what I think about the debate, I commented on every damn.
Howie, actually, all three of us are tweeting. So why don't we all give our Twitter handles and say if you really want to know what we think of the debates?
At
Mark D. Claire, at Monica Perez Show, and at Howie Snowden, right? Is that
Howard Snowden?
At Howard Snowden. All right, Mark with a C, D. Claire. Okay. But since this is the last debate before Iowa, I would like to close off with some thoughts, predictions, and such. So why don't we just I have like 3 closing questions. Well, let's just make them one question. Just give me a prediction of the whole thing. Who's going to drop out? Who's going to win Iowa? And that's it. That's all I care about. I will start by saying, I should have had an answer before I started. In a rational world, Tom Steyer is gone pretty soon. Because I don't think he has a single supporter, but it seems like he's in this for some reason where he's rigging the thing and they want him there. I don't really know. So I think he's going to hang around and he's probably going to get some delegates from Iowa because I don't even know. Supposedly he's in 3rd place in Iowa somehow. This guy
maybe he's supposed to help it be a broker convention.
I'm buying your theory more every day. So, but I'm torn. I'm torn on Iowa. But if I had to put my money on somebody right now, I think I might give it to Bernie, but I'm just not sure. And I think Klobuchar's got to be gone, right? She's
running for VP.
Nice.
I think Buttigieg has a good showing and stays around, though. I think he stays, Biden stays, Bernie stays, Warren stays. I think they all do well enough to not go anywhere.
Well, assuming that the Iowa caucuses are not influenced and controlled by the DNC and totally corrupt, I think Bernie wins it. And they say there's 3 tickets out of Iowa, and I think it's Bernie, Biden, and Buttigieg, the Bs.
So Warren's on the outside, and the triple Bs.
She would be in a hard position afterwards. Well, that would help Bernie Sanders if she dropped out.
I can't see Warren getting much traction because you can't be that annoying and win, right?
Every time she says mamas and daddies, I just get so angry.
She mamas, the daddies. As a woman.
And I noted hers. There's something else that I guess triggers me. I'm sorry, people. I get triggered. Her and I think it was Klobuchar both talked about gun safety. And I just get like fired up when someone says gun safety.
Fair enough.
Anyways, I think Sanders will win. I think the 2 and 3 will be Biden and Buttigieg. I think we're going to see Klobuchar drop out. She's only running for VP. I don't know what Steyer's doing.
I don't know what he's doing either.
And that's my take.
Quick side note before I let Monica give her prediction. And because the gun safety thing made me think of it. You know what drives me crazy when like anti-gun people, not gun safety, but when anti-gun people say what we really need are more gun training classes and shooting. You know, they need to have more shooting and they need to make sure they go through a shooting course. I'm like, wait, aren't you upset about people being mass shootings and people shooting people? You want them better trained? Why is that better? I don't want them better trained if they're going to go shoot people. I want them not know how to do it.
I'll tell you what, though, in honesty, though, all the shooters recently that have been like good shots, it's from video games.
I was going to say that is the perfect way to do it. And there's a World Economic Forum white paper I saw a few years ago, that talked about like analyzing the impact of like males of draftable age on video games, and I was thinking they're just trying to figure out if this is really training them. Clearly, that's what that stuff's doing.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
And they really just.
I mean, I was in the Army. I know how it goes.
Yeah,
another red flag for Howie.
Simulate. Yeah. Oh, I know. Forget it. No, but you just have to listen to what he says. So even if he's a limited hangout, like emphasize the hangout part. Like take what's smart. Use discernment, which is why Alex Jones has value, even though he's ridiculous in my opinion.
He's so entertaining. Actually, since he's been like canceled, I'm like I've recently been like kind of like missing. I sometimes I listen to his show like every day, but I was just get too like fired up and shit. So I'm like, I can't do this, and I stopped. But then he got canceled, and now it's like, man, I kind of want to hear some Alex Jones. I'm like, how do you even do that? What, I have to like go to his website or something? I'm like,
really?
That's crazy. I'm not going to go to somebody's
what
website.
What percent of what he was saying did you enjoy hearing, and how much made you cringe? 80-20?
Well. So when I was listening, it was probably like last year, and I didn't believe it, but I kind of wanted to hope that like this was before Trump vetoed the end the Yemen war thing. It was before he did this Iran shit, and I was kind of hoping they were going to arrest all these people that were trying to like voice this illegal coup and all this shit. I was hoping something would happen. Yeah. It's because he was talking about shit that's like, yes, this did happen. This is bullshit. This is like an affront to our law and our values. And he thought that Trump was doing something about it. I was skeptical. I think I'm right. But I liked listening to that and being like, yeah, that's right. And they would come out with shit that, maybe a month later I'd hear on the regular media.
See, that would make me crazy, though, because I never believe that stuff.
Well, that's the thing, though. No, I would, because the way he delivered it, I would get so pissed off and fired up. I'm like, I can't keep listening to this.
No. So I just was wondering, like, he's nailed
But I would listen to him like, oh, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, these people are corrupt as shit, but I don't think Trump's really going to do anything. But I hope so. It has
to be mostly true.
But I hope so.
Work. That's why Hangouts work. Like, that's why I'm fine with like Edward Snowden.
But if you've seen him, I don't think he's trying. Like, I just think he's not that smart of a dude.
No, I disagree. He's a complete
I don't know.
Agent.
Really?
I'm on Team Monica. Monica, you should take over our bonus show that we do called Conspiracy Corner, because I think you out-conspiracy all of us.
But and
that's saying a lot.
I don't like to be categorized that way because I'm so rational. Like, conspiracy.
My God.
I'm using it in the common sense of the term.
No, I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying the problem is that it's like even anarcho-capitalism. Like, you think the idea is that people are irrational, but it's actually hyper-rational.
Hey, Mark, I need you to fact check me. Or maybe not fact check, maybe like reality check me.
Okay, let's hear it.
You know how I've been kind of skeptical about the moon landing?
Oh, have you? I don't know.
So
I just watched the Apollo movie, and it didn't convince me of anything more. No. It's a documentary. It convinced me of nothing more. It had amazing footage, but I was no more.
Our good friend Dan Smotch just had John McAfee on, and he asked him about that. And McAfee's like, I worked on that shit. We walked on the moon. And I'm like,
yeah, he did say that.
Really? McAfee said that?
I'm like, if McAfee said,
he said, I can't tell you much more, but I know we did.
I'm like, well, if McAfee says so, we went to the moon. I'm like, I think the footage is fake, but we went to the moon if McAfee says so.
Now,
am I being
I always
ridiculous?
Wondered about McAfee, but I don't wonder anymore.
My only contention is that the footage of the men walking on the moon is fake. That's what I believe.
You're saying that you think that a bunch of guys on the moon hopped back on a spaceship that was floating around in space and zipped back home?
I don't think that.
You think that guys on the moon got back up into a spaceship and then came home again?
None of us think that. I don't think.
I did not think that. I did not.
McAfee told him.
Monica,
now we know McAfee's a liar.
Monica,
use your brain.
I didn't think that until yesterday. But
because you believe in McAfee's cult of personality, which I was totally ready for until just this second.
Yeah, that actually made me distrust McAfee.
Have you talked to him before? Have you talked to him before, though?
To McAfee?
Yeah.
No, I never really. I mean, I'd be happy to.
I talked to him a couple times.
I got like a good guy vibe.
I on his show.
But of course, that's the whole fucking thing. They don't get where they don't work at all. Like, we wouldn't be sitting there like.
Do you really think he's like running for president in exile because they're not really after him? And like,
I don't know, but if he's,
do you know about all that?
Worth telling you that they landed on the moon. Then that guy has
he didn't bring it up. Dan brought it up, and he also told Dan the Earth is not flat, and I believe that too. I believe that beforehand.
I'm confident the Earth is not flat.
I believe that beforehand, but I'm like, yeah, I agree with McAfee on that too. Like, Dan's asking about these conspiracy things, but apparently he worked for like Boeing and these like rock companies, and he's like, no,
I actually know somebody who was at the moon landing who holds
on the moon.
Patent. No, he watched it on TV in Houston, and he said,
"That's the thing. I think the footage is fake. I still think the footage is fake."
Monica, finish your sentence.
He saw. Sorry, he actually. I'm like a little concerned because if I tell you the details of his role in
we'll just say, pretend it's a fictional thing.
I feel like everything that's being piped to the TVs weren't real.
His uncle worked on it, and it's still like unclear whether
where the footage came from.
But numerous different people, very high-ranking physicists. I've had numerous. Including, I hate to name names, but including Jay Leno. A friend of mine was talking to Jay Leno, and he said, "Are you one of those people like that UCLA professor who said the moon landing wasn't real?" Numerous people have told me, a very high-ranking physicist. That's not where it is for me. For me, it's clearly
they've told you it's not real.
The Van Allen belts trip me up.
Many very high-ranking people say it's not real. This is just one of those things.
So I should not believe John McAfee.
It's
maybe McAfee's fooled.
But then why would he say that?
Maybe.
And a great proof of it was when Max Kellerman lost his fucking mind over Steph Curry saying that he was maybe thinking about something totally irrelevant to basketball. Max was that's absolutely the most irresponsible thing I've ever
can't say that.
So what about this? My ex-boss, who's cool, he used to be a pilot, and he saw a UFO, but it wasn't just that's a UFO. He's it was there for 15 minutes. He had the other crew of people come up and look at it holy shit, what the fuck is that?
Hey, I haven't talked about this on any kind of...
He looked into these kind of things. He thinks we went to the moon and we were told never come the fuck back here.
I've heard that one too.
I like that one too.
Maybe somebody zipped us up there, whatever. I know there are absolutely things that look like alien craft that people have seen. I don't know what they are.
Since we're not talking about anything related to anything on the show, I will choose this format to unveil publicly for the first time that I saw a UFO a couple months ago in San Diego, California. I'm being completely serious right now. I looked up in the sky. It was 3 a.m. Okay, maybe this isn't going to help my my story at all. And perhaps there was some going on that we were consuming.
Everyone was tripping balls.
No, it wasn't that.
4 in the morning. No, just kidding.
It was just late at night. And
sorry.
It could have been that, but it wasn't that.
Did you have some Uncle Howie's special mix?
No, definitely not that. I looked up in the sky and I saw what in my mind, because my mind was just seeing, it was just thinking about what it should be. And I see these shapes and I go, oh, there's a group of birds, because it was something in a V formation, like birds fly. But it's 3 a.m. When I look up, oh, there's birds. Then I was I look back at the ground. I look up, and I go, that's not birds. I look up and I see this V shape of these triangular objects. And then I turn to the person I was with, and I was look at her. And then she looks up and she looks at me and goes, did you see that? And I look up and it's gone. And she goes, did you see that? And I'm like, yes. I'm like, what happened? So I didn't see it disappear, but what she saw, because I was looking at her when this happened, she was looking up and she said she saw what I saw, but then she saw it disappear, like you could see it disappear. It was these triangular shapes in a triangular formation, and then they just whittled away into nothingness. I didn't see the whittling away. Mark, I just looked up and saw it gone. I was like, what the hell was that?
Mark, you need to get... That's my story. You need to get better at storytelling, because I had someone tell me the story about what happened in Virginia at Bunnyman Bridge, and it scared the shit out of me. I had somebody tell me
trying to scare you.
I had someone tell me secondhand what these Native Americans told them about skinwalkers, and to this day, skinwalkers are my number one fear.
All right, well, I'll work on my UFO story. I'll work on trying to scare you next time when I tell a story like that.
But that kind of stuff, I really don't know the answer with that stuff.
I have no idea. I mean, I'm willing to say it's just some weird government crafts that they're working on.
You've heard about Colorado and everywhere. There's these huge swarms of...
The drones.
Yeah, the drones.
They created a joint drone.
Nobody knows. No one knows what they are. And the government's like, don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's fine.
They're like, yeah, it's fine. If it wasn't, I don't know. Even if the government didn't know, they'd say, don't worry, it's fine. If it wasn't fine, they'd say, don't worry, it's fine.
That's correct.
So it's
See, you were an insider. See, that's that insider knowledge.
That's why we can't trust anything Howie says.
It's either them or it's the fucking Canadians or aliens.
Right. Well, before we sign off, because I am going to sign off because I have to pee, and that seems like a good time. Monica, do you have your predictions for Iowa and for what's going to go on here?
I respect so much that you guys have kind of nuanced ideas. I kind of just felt it would be a 4-way, a tie. of Warren Sanders.
Will they allow that?
A horrible four-way with Mayor Pete, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth
with
Warren.
Pete smoke, and they're going to smoke the Pete smoke.
I need to know though: is Pete a top or a bottom?
Maybe someday I'll get to interview him, and that's what I'll ask.
Like, shouldn't America know?
America deserves to know if their president is top or bottom. I think we deserve to know.
That's probably an outdated gender classing concept.
Oh yeah, Howie, we're getting canceled for that one.
It's not. It's only male gender. We're only talking about.
The thing is about
males.
getting canceled. You got to be green-lighted to get canceled, and
we're talking about him.
So we're good.
We're only talking about him and
his check. You need a check.
We're only talking about him and his white male husband. So we're good.
Right, his booty gig.
All right, guys. Well, this is awesome. By the way,
we didn't get her answer.
Well, it's just a four-way, but
she said a four-way.
Biden gets a little bit of. I felt like Biden has to win a little bit to make the impeachment narrative remain relevant. And I think Tulsi has to have a little bit of a boost, maybe 7%, because she's going to be the one who splits the ticket or gets some heat for being kind of libertarian leaning and how dangerous it is to have a third view. So
here's my question: If you think that, why didn't they allow Tulsi in this debate then?
Mark, before that,
Howie, I want the answer to this question. Then you can talk.
Because I think they needed it to be starkly all white so they could talk about that.
Wow.
Listen, we wasted our time watching this because at the same time, Tulsi streamed a town hall discussion on what was going on with Iran, which seems way more important than this bullshit.
Oh, but so maybe she's an agent on Iran.
I couldn't watch it because I had to watch this, but that's what she was doing.
Right on.
Well, gang, as I stated earlier, I got to pee. So that's when I wind things down. That's how I end shows, when nature tells me it's time. So thank you for this. I will still call it a Democratic debate recap, but it's more just a menagerie of fun, and I wouldn't want it any other way. This is awesome.
You're welcome,
Monica,
listeners.
Thank you so much. You're all very welcome for us barely talking about the debate. Monica, thank you so much once again. We will have to do this again many, many times over. And Howie, what else is there to say to you?
No, hey, so glad to meet Monica.
I've been looking forward to it.
I've heard you on all my favorite libertarian shows recently. And
I've enjoyed tweeting with you.
Are we all going to be in Childerberg? Are we all going? Are you going, Monica?
Are you going?
It's kind of hard to get a hall pass to a sausage fest, but
just say you're going
the weakest sausage ever, though. It's like, come on.
I don't know. I might.
It's like those tiny Vienna sausages. They're no harm to you.
I would try to. I would try to say it's not, but my wife's like, "Yeah, I'm not going. You go do your thing."
Oh, we shall see.
She's not willing to sleep in a tent alone.
Maybe we'll see some UFOs up in the sky together.
I would love to go.
I think Mark's going to have us in some Airbnb.
We can camp for a night or two. I don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah. It'll be just like, remember we were at Woodstock 99? It was awesome. Even the riots were awesome. But I remember this one time when the riots started, somebody pushed over this tent and this box of T-shirts fell over and I picked them up. And I was like, collective soul, and threw them back down the ground.
Well, that seems like a good time to wrap things up. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I hope everyone out there enjoyed this Democratic debate something, and then all the other talk. And I guess we'll be back. I think there's one on February 7th, which I will not be a part of. I have a big thing going on that night. Cannot do it. But
I'll be there. I'll be there, listeners. Do not
Howie will be there.
despair.
Don't worry.
Do not despair.
Do not despair. Monica, thank you once again for joining us. Until next time, I don't have a sign up for the show. Live long and live free. Roar. Always stay plugged into liberty. All that stuff. Okay. Good night. Peace.
Sleep well, Killer Prince.
Thanks, guys. Sleep well. Good night, guys. Thank you.